All right, well, my goal is to make this fairly quick. And I'm going to preface this by saying this is completely unstructured. So I'm not working from a PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you what I've done. And I think a lot of you probably are like me. You sit down and you start looking at a website and you look at your watch and you go, what do you mean it's an hour and a half or 2 hours later? But what I have found is in roaming around and exploring the NMRA website, there is a lot of really good information that's available. And I'm just going to barely scratch the surface. And I want to show you two things. The first thing is what's available without logging in. And it is absolutely amazing. So this is publicly available stuff. The second part is what's available if you log in and register as a member. And then you also can have access as a member to the digital version of the NMRA magazine, which is another thing. So I'm gonna go very quickly, and I'm just going to show you to start with. This is the stuff that's available, and I'm mainly focusing on what's available in terms of events. What are other divisions, or what are other areas in our region, mid-central region, doing, and what sort of modeling information is available? It's really amazing. There's a lot of good stuff that you don't find in the magazines. So obviously this is the home page. And as you know, you can log in as a member, you can manage your account and do all that stuff. I'm not going to go there. Okay. This is not about how to manage an account or anything like that. What I'm going to do is show you, if you go to the regions button and you come down here to regions and divisions, you see this tells you how the NMRA is organized. And if you come all the way down to this section, you see mid-central region. And this gives you all of the divisions that are involved in the mid-central region. Our division obviously is Division 6. And if you open that, which we'll do in a second, there's a lot of good stuff. But I'm just going to use an example. This is something I found late one afternoon. It might have been raining hard and I was kind of bored. So I said, okay, well, what are other divisions doing? Yeah, I went through all these, believe it or not. This is the website for the Keystone Division. Control minus. That fit better? There we go. So this is the way you get to their monthly newsletter. The Keystone Flyer is our super signal, if you will. And I just now notice I went to November 22, right? That meant I waded through all the other newsletters too. But I'm just kind of sitting here going through and I'm looking at this and oh, this is interesting stuff. How they have their information set forth. New business, old business, Pike ads. They have a bring and brag that they do monthly, which I thought that's kind of a neat thing. It's not necessarily a contest. It's just what's on your workbench in person, if you will. And they have the Jim Sacco Memorial Award. You might remember Jim owned City Classics. He passed away about a year ago. So they're setting up an award in his memory. They have their division minutes. They, like we do, here's where our next meeting is. Here's how you get there. And if you're in Western Pennsylvania, you sure need a map. And then they've got all the different railroad clubs have a little blurb where they are, where their meeting times are. I just thought that was intriguing. And I stumbled on this. Now I'm a Pensy guy, right? And I find this fascinating. Neil Shore has a 3-rail O-scale layout. That's really one of the nicer layouts that I've ever seen. I've not visited, but it's a magazine. But what I thought was fascinating is he has a really nice story about how he built a Pensy stone arch bridge in detail. Now, I don't know if this has ever been in a magazine or not, but I thought, for something free available on the NMRA website, this is good stuff. This is the kind of thing that if you know it's out there, you might have to make your own personal little index. What I tend to do is I find this stuff and then I forget to write it down. And then I spend another hour looking for it. But if you go to all of their, their different flyers, you're going to find a lot of stuff. Now, Matt, I need to figure out how to go back, and I can't hardly see. Huh? Yeah, it is.
You can hit,
Is that up here? There it is. Go back.
oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I must have done that. There you go, Carter.
That better, Carter? I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
There is a lot of really good stuff that's available on the member-only website. Especially the video library and the clinics. The clinics are videos of clinics that have been provided at various NMRA national or other conventions. So just take a look at that real quick. 148 different videos are here. And I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but here's JMRI operations, rock molds, operations on a small layout, how to paint, interiors. And I came down here to model railroad photography and I thought, yeah. Presented by Dan Munson, 2018. Does that name ring a bell? Who subscribes to RMC? Anybody? For the last year, RMC has been carrying a series of articles as to what is going to be presented and what layouts you can visit at the Texas National Convention. The author has been Dan Munson, and he is apparently not only an accomplished photographer, but he works for BNSF. I thought, aha, this guy, there's good stuff. This guy knows what he's talking about. So I clicked on it and I thought, yeah, let's see what this looks like. And I won't play it. It's 55 minutes, but take your time. While you're roaming around looking at things, there's some really good information. I did listen to this for about 30 minutes or so. And I thought, here's a guy who is published in the magazines. You can see his work. It's nice stuff. And now I can see a clinic and I don't have to spend $1,000 to go to a national to see it. And it might be a dated, it might be a couple years old, but it really doesn't change very much. So I'd urge you to do that. I see why I hit mute, Matt. The back button is right there. And then, again, this is the first of 10 and there's 148. So there is a lot of stuff here with names that you recognize as you go through it. Mark Jewett. Isn't he the DCC guy in the NMRA magazine? Don Ball. Yeah. You just see all kinds of names and you think, wow, there's another one by Dan Munson. 3D printing. So I won't go through all of them. I just wanted to let you know that there's some good stuff there that you can get into. And let's see if we can get up here again. I need to get to the other thing that this stuff has, and you'll see there's some stuff on estate planning and other information that is, I think, really good stuff. So let's go to NMRA Digital Magazine. How many guys get the magazine digitally versus the paper? Okay. I'm a paper guy, always have been. I've got 3 cabinets full of magazines in the basement that I frankly could do something better with. Yeah.
That's a small library.
The Sunbury Club has magazines coming out. I went through this process the other day and it's easy. You can get this on your PC through this zinioapps.com. Is this set up to do that, Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Mine is set up to do that. I won't go through it. You can log in and get the digital. You have to be a member to get the digital magazine. You have to log in to get access to the digital magazine. In order to log in, you can either use you have to use your same email address that you're registered as an NMRA member. You can use a different password to get to the magazine if you want to have 2 different passwords. I did it. I'm kind of a nut about online security. So
I'll add something like that. There's some discussion at the last regional that they're trying to get to a single sign-on because that's confusing a lot of
It
people.
is.
Why it's logging twice.
right.
So eventually that's going to be integrated.
And it would be great because when you sign in as a member, you ought to have direct access to the magazine. You can see here, you can also get it through the App Store on an iPhone or iPad, or you can get it on an Android device. And when you get it, you're literally looking at the magazine. It's not sometimes digital format changes. If you get the dispatch digitally, you can look at the print edition online, or you can look at it as a digital. So that's really some pretty good stuff. I would urge you, and I said I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to live up to that. I would urge you to spend some time on the website if you haven't, because for your money, I think there's a lot of really good information. It may be hard to find because there's no index. So I can't sit down and look through the Keystone division's index of their articles and say, I want to find an article about a stone arch bridge. You just have to wade through it step by step by step. I've got some extra time to do that while my wife is sitting knitting. So yeah. And then, there's all kinds of other information in here about, obviously conventions, the NMRA calendar, membership info, standards, and all that stuff. I think it's just a really valuable resource. So I would urge you to spend some time looking at it. Anybody have any questions?
I just comment that you can also easily get to the standards here as well. So you can look up something there, but I think more important that you want to look up something about the AP program. You can, I think it's every education, right? Yeah, there is. And I just remember that just because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm starting to look at civil again. And I was making sure the paperwork I printed off like 5 years ago was still current. And it is, but that's where you look through those details as well.
There's also information here for, I would say, for division leadership. Here's a thing about the division success kit. There's a lot of information that's available through the NMRA website about how to, what makes a division work successfully. What do people find interesting? What sort of things have worked in one division, not worked in another. So there's some good leadership information, if you will. The information about SIGs, you name it. I've not done this NMRA interchange Discord. I'm not Groups IO is about as far as I've gone, but there's another chat. This is a chat room. And then there's other information. Here's the thing about the display at the California State Railroad Museum. Again, Texas National. I think it'd be interesting to just kind of wade around in this region and division site and, what are they doing in Great Britain? What are they doing in Australia and so forth? And then if you do want to look at a calendar, you can come here and look at convention information. And here you'll see Rails to Pittsburgh was there. Here's the Altoona. Around the curve. Let's see, we were. There's the Fort Wayne. Yeah, we got to go to 25, right? Yeah, it's up, but it's not in here. So, all right, I'm not going to bore you any further.